Hi guys, welcome to the channel. Thanks for joining me for another tutorial. In this one we're going to be looking at converting mixed numbers to improper fractions. Now then, converting mixed numbers to improper fractions is really useful when we're trying to calculate using fractions, and that is when we're trying to add them, subtract them, multiply and divide between different fractions. Now let's jump straight into this. The easiest way to do this is going to be to represent it in a pictorial form here. So this is why I've drawn what looks like the start of a house with the 4 windows. We have in fact got shapes that have been split up into quarters because we've got 3 1/4 here, so we're working with quarters in this example. So what we've actually got here is what we call a mixed number, and a mixed number is really simple. It's made up of a whole number here, this large number, and a fraction here, a proper fraction here. A proper fraction being a smaller number on the top here than on the bottom here. The numerator in a proper fraction is smaller than the denominator. So a mixed number is quite simple. It's a mix of whole numbers and a mix of proper fractions. That's all there is to that one. So let's go ahead and try and convert this into an improper fraction. So we'll shade in first of all the 3 whole ones here, because what we need to work out is how many quarters there are altogether to write this down over 4, how many quarters there are. So let's just shade in our 3 whole ones. So there's 2 quarters, 3 quarters and 1 whole one. 1, 2, 3 quarters and 2 whole ones. 1, 2, 3 quarters and 3 whole ones, and here in the fraction we have 1 out of 4, or 1/4. Now then, all we really need to do now is count how many there are, how many shaded squares there are in these shapes here, and that will tell us how many quarters there are altogether, and we can write that and that'll give us our improper fraction. So if we go ahead, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and 13. So we can write that as 13 over 4, or 13 quarters. Now then, that is one way to find an improper fraction from a mixed number. Now I do suggest there's a quicker way and a more numerical, mathematical way. I did want to show you that way first, just so that you got a good understanding of where it is that I'm coming from. So let's have a look at that same mixed number again. I'll make it nice and big here. And let's just remember what we did here. We drew out the whole ones, and we shaded 3 whole ones and 1/4 of the final shape, and that left us with 13. So what we can do here is we can first of all work out how many whole ones there are in 3 1/4. Sorry, how many quarters there are in the 3 whole ones. So the first thing we'll do is we'll multiply our 4 by 3. And multiplying the 4 by 3 will give us 12. And then don't forget there was 1 additional quarter, and there it is if we add that on. So then we add the 1 additional quarter on, we will get 13. So 3 1/4 is the same as 13 over 4. And if you remember, that's exactly the same as in the previous example when we used the shapes. You can see that it's 13 over 4. So let's show you that again next to each other. We've got 3 1/4. If we times those together, we get 4 times 3 gives us 12. And then we add on our numerator there, because our numerator is representing this part here. We add on the 1/4 and we get 13, and thus our answer is 13 over 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and 13 quarters. Let's have a look at one more example. We'll look at it mathematically with the numbers first, then we'll double check using a doodle. Okay, here we go. We'll have a look at the number 2, well the mixed number, 2 2/3. So let's go ahead with calculating this by multiplying then adding. So we need to find out how many thirds there are in two whole ones, so we'll multiply those together. So 3 times 2 gives us 6, and then what are the extras here? Add on the 2, which of course gives us 8. So 2 and 2/3 is the same as 8/3. But don't just take my word for it. Let's have a look. Let's prove this. We like to prove things in maths, don't we? So here we go. So we've got 1, 2 whole ones, and that's a bit of a sign on here. So 1, 2, 3/3. So 1 whole one. I know that these should be equally spaced. Fractions are, of course, shapes split up into equal parts, but I am trying to do this freehand and it's not really going so well for me. So we've got the 2 whole ones and 2/3 of the final shape, so there we go. And let's just count how many of these we've got here. So we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8/3, which was the answer that we wrote up here. So to summarise, when we're converting a mixed number to an improper fraction, that is a number with a larger number for the numerator than the denominator. An improper fraction has a numerator that is larger, this numerator, this top number, that is larger than the denominator, the bottom number. So we multiply the denominator by the whole number here to find out how many there are, in this example, thirds there are in the number of whole numbers, and then we simply add on the numerator. So we multiply the denominator by the whole number, and then we simply add on the numerator. That's all that there is to this one. Hope this video was helpful. If you have found the video helpful, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. The button is on the bottom right corner of your screen now, and please check out my other videos in the fractions series. They'll really help you out. The next video is going to appear on the left hand side of your screen, is going to be on converting improper fractions back to mixed numbers, so make sure you check that one as well. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.